and we know how to put them in order to make sure girls are interested or stay interested and ultimately swipe. But we still haven't done that with his.
Right, yeah. I mean...
So he's a little self-conscious.
We have with my old pictures. It's just that I'm slightly more overweight than I was before. So, but anyway, that was one of the things that I was worried about. And what did you tell me?
I told you that, first of all, it's not that big of a deal, especially for guys. If it's a girl and you weigh 110 pounds when you take your pictures, and then you weigh 140 or 150 pounds when you get out on the date, that's going to be noticeable. It's going to be incredible, especially if you're like 5'2". You know, that's a pretty significant difference. And I don't think I would be very happy if I came on.
That happened to me once.
Oh, did it?
What happened?
Yeah. It was just, she looked very pretty in the profile, but then she was overweight in real life. And I was so mad.
What did you do?
I didn't kill her. I just... Whoa. I didn't kill her, if that's what you're implying. No, I just...
Would have just got up and left.
I should have.
What is the proper thing to do in this scenario? So you meet a girl, she's way heavier than...
I would tell her, that's deceitful, and get up and leave.
Yeah.
But also, in this situation, you got to realize that if you are like me and it's slightly different, you're slightly overweight, maybe they notice it, maybe they don't. But sometimes, if you're throwing it out on them and you're just going to leave when they're slightly overweight, it might happen to you sometimes. So you just got to take that with a grain of salt and understand that.
But the key is not to sell yourself.
Slightly, it's okay, but not over.
Don't sell yourself as something that you're not. So...
Yeah, on the profile pictures specifically, it's really tough. But women hate the thing they hate the most in profile pictures is just generic stuff.
Selfies.
Right.
Yeah, or even selfies is okay, but you have to be into some specific stuff for them to be interested in you. Like if you just put a picture of The Office or something, they can see right through that, and they hate that. Like if you just put up like Office or the Beatles or things that girls would like.
But it's got to be a view. The pictures have to be a view.
Yeah, if you standing in front of your computer with The Office playing. Like a lot of guys try to play on that in their profile pictures. But I've hung out with girls while they swipe through Tinder in front of me. Like that's something we do. And she just goes through she just roasts these guys.
And they pick out the littlest details.
Yeah.
That you would never think about. Like, ew, does he have a pink toothbrush? Are you serious? Is he wearing a studded belt? What year is this? Like little things that you would never think about. Those girls are going to swipe left. You're going to have the best profile in the world, but if there's some little thing that throws her off.
Yeah, especially gym pics. They despise those.
No shirtless selfies in the mirror.
Yeah, it looks good, but they hate it. Like guys taking pictures in the gym, like.
And in fact, we'll have a whole episode where we're going to talk about what pictures to take and what pictures not to take. That's coming up soon.
Oh,
but for the sake of time, let's continue with
right. We got a little bit off topic there, I think. Gave you a little bit of bonus content there that we're going to, have in another episode. But anyway, that was just something that I was slightly worried about. Obviously,
there's more.
Obviously, we had already matched, so she wasn't worried about my profile or anything. So I was just nervous about that, and Ryan talked me down a little bit. And then the last thing in the call that he told me to do...
And I told you if it's going to go bad, it's just going to go bad.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's going to happen. If it's meant to go bad, it's going to go bad.
The thing is, if you come at it... Because if you've been on Kismet, you've taken the course, you know what you need to do, you know what you need to say, you know how you need to be. But when it comes down to it, you need to... turn off that logical part of your brain that says everything needs to be this way, and you need to let that go. And that's the hardest thing, especially if a guy comes from like a really logical job, like let's say if he's an accountant or an engineer and he's like solving problems all day and he's doing math, everything has to add up to whatever X equals blank. That's not a good place. So what I do tell people is listen to some stand-up comedy on your way there. Don't sit there in your head and think about all the things that you need to do, or I need to come off this way, or things need to work out this way. I need to make sure that I get her the best roses. We're going to watch the best movie, eat the best food, and I'm going to open the door for her. And you just work yourself up into a froth. And when it gets there, you find yourself trying to force the interaction to go in the way that you picture it in your head as being the right way to go. And a lot of times you just need to let it go and just sit there and be present with her. There's nothing more sexy for a girl than a guy who is just present and in the moment. And it's not something that comes easy to most guys, but it's something that we can all develop and we can all work on. And if we do work on it, and really try, and that's why another reason why I recommend doing meditation before, because that will put you more into the moment. But if you turn off the logic part of your brain and just let it go, and whatever happens, then you'll find that that's whenever you can be free to be the funniest. That's whenever you can be free to be the most confident. That's whenever you're free to basically be yourself with this girl. And then just like, this is just an experience that you're having, connecting with this girl on a deep level.
Yeah,
and
that's essentially, if you're relaxed, they're relaxed. And when you're dealing with women, they're essentially just people. Kind of like just think of them as people. They're just like tiny.
kind of just people.
Just think of them as like tiny people. They, if you like something, they'll like something. Yeah.
Yeah, and they sense your emotion very hard. Like, girls are like basically empaths, and so whatever emotion you're feeling, they're gonna mirror that. And so anyway, sorry, we're way off topic here. Let's get back to the story.
Yeah, so the last thing that Ryan told me on the call there is something that he likes to do when he's on a date, just to kind of break the ice a little bit. He told me to give her a call before I got there. So you want to go into that routine?
So this is actually really funny. So when you've never talked to a girl before, I recommend giving her a call before the date. Sometimes you want to do it the day before the date just to solidify it. Other times you want to do it if you know, for some reason you didn't do that, you want to call her like 10 minutes before you get there. And so what you're going to do during this call is basically just feel out the vibe. And you're going to be like, hey, this is, so-and-so. I'm about, you don't want to say you're about 10 minutes away. What you want to tell her is, I can't make it to the date. Something just came up. I just remembered I promised my friend I would go help him clean some dolphin blowholes.
Or, just something random that's
or something so out there and stupid that she would never take it seriously. And so what'll happen now is she's going to get upset, kind of. If she believes you, she's going to be like, oh, whatever, it's fine. You're just trying to blow me off. And then later you tell her, no, I'm just kidding. I'm like 10 minutes away. And then she has a good laugh. And then you set a tone for the conversation as being kind of lighthearted and playful, which is really good. And you get to feel out the vibe. And when you get there, you're not going to be as nervous because you've already talked to her. She seems cool. You're vibing a little bit on the phone call. And it makes everything go a little bit smoother when you get there.
I kind of do the same thing. Like, I use the exact same, it's kind of like the dolphin line, but the line I always use is yeah, I just went to the gym and got kicked out for beating everyone up too much. And I just copy and paste that to every girl, and it works.
I love it. That's going to be new Kismet material. That's amazing.
But yeah, anyway, so I was on the phone with Ryan. He told me to do this. I was getting pretty close. I had already gone into the gas station, grabbed a beer, was on my way. I was probably closer than 10 minutes, but, I drove around a little bit. But anyway, I got off the phone with Ryan, and I gave her a call. I was planning on running this routine, and this is kind of where it starts to go downhill, guys, just to let you know. So
this is where it gets fun.
I gave her a call, and she picked up, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And she was like, oh, who is this? And I was like, this is
weird.
Jerry. I've been snapping you back and forth, I'm supposed to be coming over to your place.
He did use his real name.
I did use my... Yeah, I didn't say Jerry. I used my real name, but Jerry in this instance.
IRS, fuck off.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, this is Jerry. I'm on my way. Or I didn't say I'm on my way because I was going to try and play off the routine. And she was like, who is this? And I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was just like, oh, well, I don't know who this is. And I was like, it's not Maria. And Maria's not a real name, by the way. I was like, is it not Maria? And she was like, no, I don't know who that is. And I was like, okay, well, I guess, I'll just get off the phone then.
And here's where it gets cringy.
Right. And then she was like, but it would be bad if I wasn't, right? And then I was like, yeah. So, by the way, I can't really make it.
And even though she basically beat him to the punch with the joke that he was about to say, he thought it would still be a good idea to go ahead and use it anyway.
Listen, guys, I was nervous. I was thrown off. I was like, what in the hell is going on right now? And I was just like, wait, well, I guess I'll just continue the routine. You're going to get like that sometimes. And I was like, yeah, I can't make it. I've got a job interview at Dunkin' Donuts. And then she was like, you're fucking bullshitting. Stop being stupid. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm about 10 minutes away.
Okay. Well, it doesn't seem as bad now the second time I've heard this story, but yeah, that's really awkward.
Yeah, but anyway, she was still excited to see me. She was like, oh, how close are you? And I was like, oh, yeah, 10 minutes away. And she was like, oh, by the way, you might, the GPS doesn't always take you the right way. You want to make sure you're coming off this road and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. And I got off the phone and driving through, trying to get to her place, finally get there. It's in an extremely bad area of town. I thought my car might have gotten carjacked maybe. It was in one of those types of areas.
The hood.
Real rundown. I just didn't really feel safe over there. I got there, pulled up. She has a house that she's renting, and walked to the door, ring the doorbell. She comes to the door. And the first thing that she does when she opens the door, she looks me up and down, and then she turns around, leaves the door open, and just walks through her house. And I'm sitting there like, what? Should I follow? And then the other aspect of this,
What does she look like?
when it comes to it, is she is completely different from her profile. You can tell that it's her, but it's basically a full-on catfish. She's 80 or 90 pounds heavier than she was on her profile. On her profile, you can attest, she was about a 6.5, maybe a 7.
I would say a solid 5.
No, you said before she was about a 6.5, maybe a 7.
She was all right.
On the profile, she was really cute. I was excited to get to go see her, and she is maybe...
Even Billy Bob thought she was cute.
Right, yeah. She's maybe a 2 at this point when I get there. But at this point... Yeah, at this point I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm on this date. I don't know if I want to have sex now, but...
He didn't know that he didn't. He just...
No,
This was up to you the whole
He was
time.
like, we'll see how it goes.
You just...
Maybe I could get over this fact that she's 400 pounds.
I mean, I pretty much didn't want to have sex at that point, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in. It's a date. I'm just going to talk to her, see how it goes. Whatever, because
I would have been pissed.
I just want to get the experience of the date.
You should have kicked her ass. That's what I would have done.
Anyway, so she walks away from me. So I follow her in the door. Her dog starts going ballistic. She's walking through the living room, and then directly into the kitchen. I follow her into the kitchen. When we get into the kitchen, I turn around and I'm just like, hey, what's your dog's name? Because I'm trying to maybe comfort the dog and just break the ice a little bit.
Break the ice with the dog.
Right, yeah. And then she puts her hands up in a stopping motion, and then she's just like, wait. To me. Not to the dog, to me. And then... it's probably about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes goes by that she's just staring at her dog while it's barking its head off. A couple of times I'm just like, what's its name? I'll go over and pet it. And she just shakes her head no. And then after about 2 minutes, she looks at the dog, starts yelling at it in German, and then the dog like turns around, stops barking, and goes into its cage. So, and when I say yelling, I mean it was super aggressive yelling. So it's pretty weird.
Borderline animal abuse.
I mean, I guess. I mean, she didn't touch it or anything, but if there was a such thing as
Emotional animal abuse.